This is nice.
What is it?
It is a Night of the Owls poster.
Oh.
Featuring basically that card. It's basically the...
That checklist card? Yeah, kind of.
Very cool. All right.
Since we will be talking about Night of the Owls here in a little bit. And
Very
all
good.
of the related books.
Do you have all of them?
Actually, I do.
This is the stack I have that I purchased.
Of Night of the Owls?
Yeah.
That's it?
That's it.
That's it?
What's your stack? It's not. This is pretty much it. I'm only missing like Red Hood and the Outlaws and Batman and the Dark Knight
and Batgirl,
Catwoman,
Batman, Batwing,
and Batwoman.
Here's Firestorm, Batman Inc. Right. Dark Knight, All-Star Western, Justice League, Nightwing. Here's the stack. Here, this is the stack.
Okay. I'm missing a few.
You're missing quite a few.
I'm about halfway there.
Quite a few.
But I've read them all.
We're going to set these aside. We'll come back to that in a little bit. First of all, let's talk about where are we right now? Because we are not in Comiholics HQ.
No, we're probably about 50 feet away from Comiholics HQ. We are at the Tiki Bar at by my pool. In the backyard.
This is like people are going to think you live in this palatial mansion.
No,
because you've got this like downstairs.
No, this is so ghetto.
Then you've got your tiki bar next to the pool, and then there's your bar in the garage with your tap.
Yeah,
your kegerator.
No, it's all ghetto fabulous. It's not.
Although this is a nice bar. I mean, this is a nice piece of equipment that you got.
These tiki lights, I think they came from a neighbor's garage sale just recently.
All right, then.
All right, yeah. Okay, so here we are, out in nature.
Go.
So there may be a random train that goes by,
or when the aircraft carrier comes into port, or otherwise known as your air conditioner,
or the Shield helicarrier. We'll just pretend it's the Shield helicarrier.
Helicarrier. All right, fair enough. So we may have to pause. So we may pause if something like that starts coming.
So I just want to reflect on the last episode. I was amazed.
2 hours and 20 minutes.
I was absolutely amazed with the turnout of response hits.
I think it's bots.
It's got to be.
It's got to. There's some
kind of conspiracy.
Yeah, because if this show doesn't get 1,700 hits in 2 weeks like the other show was getting, then we know that it was just an aberration. But hey, I mean, if this show does, then perfect, great.
Yeah.
Even better. I'll just cancel the other shows and just do this show all the time.
All right, which is fine by me.
So right now I'm drinking a Busch.
I'm drinking a Sierra Nevada in a can.
I've got Busch in a bottle, and you've got Sierra Nevada in a can. That's a perfect night.
It's opposite day. Are we gonna go through these stacks here?
Sure. Let's talk about some comics.
Okay. I think the last time I went first. It's your turn.
Oh, of course, because I'm not ready, because I'm waiting for you to go, and now you're going to make me go first? Okay, I'll go. No, I'll go. I'm going.
No?
I'm going. All right, let's see here.
Go.
Justice League.
All right.
Justice League now, I don't know. I'm a little conflicted with Justice League because it fast-forwarded to, like, the modern time now.
Right.
So it's not the origin story set in the past, so now it's
not like 5 years ago, now it's now.
Now it's now. And
they all have egos.
I don't know. I'm just I'm reading it, and it's too. When the DC New 52 thing kicked off, and everything started happening, when you got Justice League, you got Action Comics. They were 5 years in the past, and you felt like this is something new. Like they're redoing it. This is actually a new origin. This is exciting. Then the other books started to come out, and you just kind of felt like, oh, nothing changed in Batman. Nothing changed in Green Lantern. I mean, The Flash is different because it's Barry Allen, but it's still following basically the same story more or less as before. A very few important characters had major changes. I think Wonder Woman is the only major character that had real significant changes.
And she's in Hades now.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. Maybe it's the Dominican Republic. You don't know. So anyway,
Haiti.
But now that it's gone past that origin point, and now it's like all caught up and everything, it's just kind of, I'm not that excited by it anymore. I do like the Shazam backup story. Looking at the Shazam and the future Mary Marvel and everybody, like that new origin, it's at least interesting, and the artwork is beautiful by Gary Frank. So, I mean, at least if nothing else, that's a fantastic, beautiful piece of artwork and whatever. So at least that stands out as something that makes it worth reading, but the issue as a whole just kind of leaves something to be desired. Let's see. Next up, Firestorm. Ethan Van Sciver announced, that he's leaving Firestorm, and he said he's working with Harris to get the storyline set in motion. So at least Harris knew.
Wait a minute, didn't you say you like Firestorm now, right?
Well,
like at first you didn't.
Yeah, I didn't like it when Gail Simone was co-writing it, and then as soon as she left, it seemed to get like 1,000 times better because Ethan Van Sciver was in charge of the storyline. Well, now he's leaving, and so this one he kind of stepped back after a couple issues. He steps back, and Joe Harris kind of more takes over, and just the way the story was kind of laid out and written for Fury of Firestorm 9, it was just confusing. It wasn't clear. It wasn't smooth. I guess I don't know.
Like the story didn't make sense.
Like, well, no,
or it didn't flow well.
It didn't flow well. It was kind of jumpy, kind of choppy, and it was one of those things where I open the issue and I start reading it, and I'm like, wait, did I miss an issue? Did I skip an issue?
Oh, this is with JLI.
Yeah, Justice League International appears in this one.
Which JLI's ending, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So
where will Booster Gold go next?
Who knows?
I'm sorry, I'm getting off the subject here. So Firestorm. This seems like a lot of action going on here on the cover. Nothing going on though.
I mean no, there is a lot of action going on, but like I said, I opened and I read the first page and I go, wait a minute, did I miss an issue?
Right.
So I went back to issue 8 and read. No, I read this.
Okay.
Just 9 is just kind of confusing.
What else you got? Hit me.
Batman Incorporated #1.
Okay.
Not part of Night of the Owls.
The reset.
This is a Grant Morrison book.
Okay.
Which means this is written on about 10 different layers at the same time, making references to things that have not been written anywhere else, but assumes that you already know, which you don't. So it's purposely confusing.
Are you saying that's a typical trend of Grant Morrison?
Yes. Yeah, especially when it comes to his Batman.
I'm reading All-Star Superman right now, too.
All-Star Superman is a different beast.
And as you can hear, there's either like a police raid going on or...
prostitution sting, or...
we don't know.
It might be ambulances, fire trucks, I don't know.
We're going with it. We're going to keep rolling. I
don't know if these sirens... They're not coming this way, though, so I'm safe.
So did you like it? No.
I did.
Yes.
No, I did, but it's one of those... It's, again, one of those things where I'm going to have to read 3 or 4 issues to really kind of get...
Why are they calling it a combo pack? Oh, because it's got the digital
Right,
copy.
That's got the digital download code.
Isn't that nice?
Put it in the back. I do like that.
I do.
I know there are a lot of people
I immediately down... Oh, and you know what? You know how they have the deadline date on there?
Yeah.
You know how sometimes I'm far behind and I'll buy my comics like,
yeah,
a
but
month's
they're a
worth.
year, but...
Yeah. No, but I've been like a month late past that expiration code and you can still download it.
No, the codes are good for a year. It's 2013, not 2012.
Oh, never mind.
So you're okay.
Okay. Thank you, DC. I thought I was like, just getting one in there.
Voltron 5. I don't know if we talked about this last time.
Well, no,
not.
I just need to catch up. I really am interested in that book.
Oh, wait, which book?
I've read 1, 2, and 3
of
Voltron.
Oh, okay. This book. Okay.
The book you're talking about.
Well, because you just jumped in, like maybe you're still talking about a Batman book.
We need another beer, something.
Something. All right. Voltron 5 was finally like, this is the issue I've been waiting for. This is the issue where they finally get in the lions and they start fighting giant robot monsters. Like, this is what this issue 5 should have been issue 1.
Oh, okay, so now Voltron is in full effect.
Right. They should have done this issue, and then at the end of this issue
remember you posed this question
20 years ago.
At the panel, you were like, so, wasn't it you that posed the question? Somebody posed the question, like, when is the action going to begin with the comic,
Well, I didn't ask that in the panel.
Right.
I noticed that behind the scenes. World's Finest and Earth 2. Did you read these?
No.
Okay.
No.
Earth 2 is the
alternate universe, DC universe.
Right. And in this issue they kill off Superman, Wonder Woman, and I think Bruce Wayne. They all die in this issue.
Okay.
And
then I almost said Mole Man. And then Mole Man takes over. No.
And then the Fantastic Four come in. It was a lot of fun. I like the whole like alternate universe.
Yeah, I do too. It's a nice.
Too.
You know what's great about it is, when you're reading a lot of books, you get so focused on the universe that those exist, and it's nice sometimes to kind of twist it around and see a perspective of a writer who says, what if Batman, Wonder Woman, and Bruce Wayne died?
Batman, Wonder Woman, and Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Know what you said?
Batman, Wonder Woman.
I mean, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I thought it was a lot of fun. I look forward to reading more of that one. Justice Society will come out of that one.
Oh, okay.
Eventually. So, but World's Finest, Supergirl and Robin, who in the Earth 2 universe is the daughter of Bruce Wayne,
with the new Power Girl uniform.
Right. Well, Supergirl and Robin get pulled from the Earth 2 universe into our universe. They realize that there's already a Supergirl and a Robin in this universe.
Oh, and it's
so they decide to adopt new identities of the Huntress and Power Girl.
Is that supposed to be Barbara Gordon as Robin? Who's Robin there?
Bruce Wayne's daughter in the Earth 2 universe.
Okay, well, I don't know much about Earth 2 universe.
That's why I just said it.
I missed that part. I'm sorry.
Jeez. So anyway, they come into, the regular DC universe, and they realize there's already a Supergirl and a Robin here, and they don't want to conflict, basically. So they decide to adopt new identities of Huntress and Power Girl while they work on trying to find a way to get back home.
Oh.
Now, they did a Huntress miniseries earlier this year that was actually pretty decent. And
well, she's evolved to Birds of Prey, right? Isn't Huntress part of?
Well,
Birds
she
of
was
Prey?
Before the reboot.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think she's in there now.
She was in. Huntress is involved with Batgirl in an issue.
Okay.
A Batgirl issue.
Well,
and
anyway,
I think there was a reference to Birds of Prey.
When she's in this book, they point out the fact that she stole an identity of this like Italian woman and pretended to be her while being the Huntress.
Right.
But that's not really who she is.
No.
So when you read the miniseries, you thought it was a follow-up to Before, because Huntress, before the whole reboot, Flashpoint, whatever, that's who Huntress was. But now in this universe, so you read that and you thought, oh, Huntress hasn't changed. Right. But then you get to this book and you find out that whole time, that was actually Robin of Earth 2 in the Huntress uniform. All right. I feel like I'm like doing school time or something. Now look at this cover. Now see this book right here.
I almost bought that issue on Comixology. Should I buy it?
XO Man of War?
Yes.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Okay.
So
Valiant isn't.
I actually bought both covers.
No, Valiant's an old publisher, right? They've been around a while, right? And didn't they come and go?
Okay.
Or what's the history there?
Here's the deal. In the 60s, there was a company called Dell. And they did,
not to be confused with computers,
right? Gold
Spelled
Key,
the same?
Dell, and Gold Key. Basically, it was they did Magnus Robot Fighter, Solar Man of the Atom, Turok Dinosaur Hunter.
Okay,
Okay. Then in the 90s, those faded away after 5-10 years, whatever. Then in the 90s, somebody started a new company called Valiant, and they bought the rights to those characters or licensed the rights from the licensing group. And they started basically a new universe using those characters, but they started them from scratch, and then they introduced their own characters and mixed it in.
Right.
So they would take Magnus Robot Fighter, and they would take Turok Dinosaur Hunter, and they would take Solar Man of the Atom, but then they added in XO Man of War. They added in Archer and Armstrong. They added in Bloodshot. So they mixed them together, their own, plus these characters from the 60s.
Okay.
Well, then the company got bought out by Acclaim video game company, and they burned through a whole bunch of money, and eventually they just shut the whole thing down. So then, 4 or 5 years ago, these two guys who were huge fans of Valiant when they were growing up decided to buy the rights. They wanted to buy the rights and relaunch the company. So they go out there and they're trying to buy the rights to all these characters, and they get the rights to the Valiant original characters. Okay. XO, Bloodshot, Archer and Armstrong, Eternal
Dr.
Warrior.
Solar.
No. The guys who were originally from Dell and Gold Key, who were Solar, Magnus, Turok,
Okay.
they couldn't get those rights.
Oh.
And they were trying to get them so they could redo the entire Valiant universe, and they kept trying, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, Jim Shooter, who had been with Valiant originally in the 90s, who they had hired to help them relaunch, suddenly he's cut this new deal with Dark Horse, and he starts writing those books that came out 2 years ago, Solar Man of the Atom,
Right.
Magnus Robot Fighter, and Turok. And so they fire him, obviously, because he went behind their backs and cut these deals to do it at Dark Horse. So they fire Jim Shooter, and they're like, well, now we don't have all the characters, but they decided to go ahead and go forward with the characters, the Valiant original characters that they have the rights to. So XO is the first. Harbinger will be coming out in a couple weeks.
We covered Harbinger.
Well, we covered that trade from the original Valiant in the 90s. Right. They're relaunching that as part of this push. Now, in XO Manowar, basically, there are... God, who are the European people that the Romans... Visigoths? The Vikings? Okay, basically whatever. They're fighting with the Romans, way back in whatever, 20 BC or something. And these aliens appear on Earth. And so, they think that these aliens are part of the Roman army or whatever, so they go to check it out, attack them. They get kidnapped on this alien ship, and they find this suit of armor on the ship. And one of these ancient dudes puts on the suit of armor to protect himself, and suddenly finds himself basically in an Iron Man level suit that can shoot energy beams and can withstand all these attacks and whatever. And he's just like this ancient barbarian wearing the suit of armor. So he just starts, doing what barbarians do.
It's
best.
Conan meets RoboCop.
Kind of. It's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that one continuing on. Green Lantern. Are you caught up on Green Lantern?
Nah, I'm on issue 7. No, I'm 2 issues behind.
All right.
But go ahead, spoil it.
Okay. Well, I started reading Green Lantern, and I was kind of upset that, again, nothing had changed, right? You start reading through Green Lantern 1, the War of the Lanterns has happened, Blackest Night happened, all that stuff has already happened, you've already missed it in the New 52, and I was kind of upset, and I kind of got away from reading it for a while. So I just recently went back and caught up on reading it, and the funny thing was, as I'm going along, you've got the Green Lanterns, the Red Lanterns, the Sinestro Corps, the whoever, this and that, and the Indigo Tribe appears. And I'm like, oh my god, they're throwing these guys back in here?
You weren't hip on the Indigo Tribe?
Well, I just, after a while, just all these different groups, and they all have different powers, and it's like, we have the power of hope. It's like, what the hell is the power of hope? You know what I mean? It's like Green Lantern runs on willpower. You have the determination to make something happen, and it happens. So at least you've got an idea of why it works, but it's like, I hope there's a giant beam of energy shooting out of my arm. Is that how the hope power works? I don't know. That just seems kind of ridiculous. But anyway, I'm reading through, and this Indigo Tribe appears, and I'm like, this sucks for new readers. If you're a new reader, and you picked up the Green Lantern books because DC 52 relaunched everything, and then suddenly this Indigo Tribe appears, you don't know who the Indigo Tribe is, you don't know why they're there, you don't know where their powers come from, so it's like it's lost. It doesn't bring in new readers.
Well, I have a question for you. What do you think about the whole storyline where it's surrounded about, Hal getting all the rings, and then all these tribes coming to him demanding the rings back, and then the whole storyline about why all the rings came to him? Didn't you find that kind of a waste?
Wait, what? Which storyline?
In the main Green Lantern title.
In this, not before the launch.
No.
After the launch.
Right.
Which part? Where all the rings come to him.
Yeah. He's got all these rings, and all these tribes are coming to him.
What the hell are you even talking about?
Okay. All right.
Wait, did I miss something?
Yeah.
All right, now I'm going to have to open this up and...
Well, it's a few issues back. It's in the beginning of the relaunch.
In the beginning of the relaunch, he doesn't have any powers. Sinestro has to give him a
Sinestro gives
ring
him.
that gives him the ability, but it's not a real ring.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of Core, aren't I?
I was going to say, my God.
There's a lot of Green Lantern
Well, there
stuff.
are a lot of Green Lantern books.
Sorry,
that was Green Lantern
Cross.
Core.
That was
All right.
Core.
Now, I have not read Core or New
Okay.
Guardians or whatever. Okay, but here's the thing. Going back to this main book for a minute. I'm thinking about how much the Indigo Tribe sucks. You don't know who they... if you're a new reader, it doesn't make any sense. And so I'm like, well, I've got up to issue 9 here. Maybe I'll just read issue 9 and I'll stop, Because I'm like, I was just kind of upset. I get to issue 9, and you know what happens in issue 9?
What's that?
They explain everything.
Okay.
They explain who the Indigo Tribe is and where they come from and how it works and why they're there now.
Aren't they connected to the Black Lantern somehow? And then
kind of. You could kind of say that. But the point being, though, is like this whole time I'm reading it, I'm like, this is the most poorly thought out. Like, the way they've structured the storyline, you don't know anything about these people, and they're so key to the storyline. And then I get to issue 9.
What you're saying is if you're a new reader and
Yeah.
they're throwing all this out at you and you had no frame of reference, it would make absolutely no sense in this restart. And then they explained it in issue 9.
And it took them 9 issues to get there. So that would be my one complaint, is that it took them forever to finally just flat out explain it, which I feel they should have done.
And what do you feel about,
before.
like, now that I'm remembering my place with all the lanterns, and I do apologize, there's a lot of lantern stuff going on. What do you got? You've got Emerald Warriors.
No, that was canceled. That was pre-Flash.
Okay.
You've got Green Lantern,
Green Lantern
Corps,
Green
Lantern New Guardians,
New Guardians, that's what I was thinking.
and Red Lanterns. Those are your 4 Lantern books. Now, the Green Lantern is the only one that I'm anywhere current.
Of those, Green Lantern and Red Lanterns are my favorite.
You like Red Lantern?
Yes.
Okay.
What the artwork is great. What they done with, like, Bleeze is it Bleeze? Do you say Bleeze? How do you say her name?
Just whatever. Like,
Yeah.
in my mind,
I like the story. It's basically like a power struggle.
character names out loud never work. People are always
No, but I like that. I like to hear what other people think.
now here there are a couple other things here.
Oh, you've got some.
Flash. I finally caught up on Flash.
Okay.
You've been reading Flash all along, haven't you?
Of course.
All right. I'm not as sold on the Gorilla Grodd thing.
Okay.
I mean, Gorilla Grodd, I know he's always been part of the whole Flash rogues gallery, but I really liked Captain Cold. I really liked everything that was going on with him. And then suddenly
Fizzled out.
Yeah, well, and then they just kind of jumped to these to the Gorillas for 2 issues. But, I mean, he makes it back at the end of the latest issue, and Weather Wizard's going to be there, so I am kind of looking forward to how it plays out. But I did like the idea of he's using his powers, and as he uses his powers, it makes these wormholes. I mean, you find out that there's more involved in that, and there's a guy.
Well, it wasn't
in the
actually
Speed Force,
him
but
making the wormholes.
It was the
the
other
guy
guy
who trying to escape
right.
from being imprisoned.
The
in
World
the
War
time
II
speed.
fighter pilot.
Yeah.
Um,
And wasn't he? Oh, I'm trying to remember. Was he like African American or something? He's not.
yeah, he was one of the Tuskegee Airmen.
Tuskegee Airmen. Thank you. Yeah.
So anyway, I like that whole story. Deadpool. Oh, you haven't read the latest Deadpool?
Yeah, I have.
The latest one?
Yeah.
55?
What's the cover look like?
Him looking at his pretty shiny face.
No, the last one I read where he's like, it's the picture of him in a coffin.
Yeah, part R.I.P. Okay, there's one after that.
Okay.
So I won't talk about that, I guess.
Great story so far,
It
though.
is. I have to say, Deadpool
I mean, I'm glad that they kind of cut some of the other.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still sad that
Fat
Merc with
and
the
just-
Mouth had to end.
Yes,
That one ended up
but
being
it was
the best.
it was well done, and I'm glad it ended.
And
when it did.
Deadpool Corps should have never been started.
Should have
in the
never
first place.
existed. Although I like my mini mates. That's
You
about
know,
all I have to
although
say
I
on
went
it.
back and I was looking through some of the old Deadpool issues, and I went back to like 25, where he's the policeman in like Atlanta or whatever.
Okay.
Like he kills the sheriff and takes his badge and his hat and is driving around in the police squad car.
Okay.
And I remember at the time thinking, they're 2 years into this series. I don't know if they can do 2 more. But yet now we're at issue 55. It's been 2 years since that issue, and I'm still loving this book. I mean, there's still so much fun going on in this book, so I got to give them credit.
Marvel had the 99-cent digital Deadpool comics.
Yeah.
Was it Marvel Monday? Was that what was going on?
Yeah, I believe it was.
And right away I bought the first 3, which are like the Skrull tie-ins.
Oh, okay.
Secret Invasion tie-ins. And
that's old.
The issue... Yeah, it's like the first 3. And the issue that we were just talking about, the issue before that, where he's the cover with him in the casket.
Yeah.
There's a reference to him wearing the mascot costume in the stadium. Like in that issue.
Which is when the Skrull invasion happened.
Yeah.
Right, because he was doing that when the ship appeared in the sky.
Yeah, he's in that zany...
That's right. Wow.
So that was great.
I'd forgotten about that. But yeah, so they've been doing a really good job on that book. And there's more sirens.
More sirens than my neighbor's motorcycle. So, you know...
Although, to be fair...
Everybody's going to think we live in Compton.
To be fair, though, with the sirens, there are 2 hospitals in the area. So...
Right.
All right. One last thing I want to talk about here. Now that I'm doing the 27-minute opening of the show like I used to make fun of you for.
Right.
Hey, thanks, buddy. Can I get a ride later? I went on our message board, and I was talking about how I had read the Death of Optimus Prime storyline and those Chaos Transformers trade paperbacks.
Okay.
I had mentioned to you when I was working on your computer that one day.
Right.
Not on the show, but if you guys lived with us in normal life, you would know about this conversation.
Right.
So anyway, I was talking on the message board about it, and one of the guys said, if you're going to read anything Transformers, there's a storyline called Last Stand of the Wreckers, which is... It was a, I don't know, was it 3-issue, 4-issue series?
What year?
Just a couple years ago. Let's see here. This was, 2010.
Stop touching me there.
On your
tiki
feet?
Bar.
We're playing footsie in the tiki bar.
That sounds so naughty.
That's the other movie we made.
And giddy at the same
All
time.
right, so anyway, Last Stand of the Wreckers. And he said, if you're going to read anything Transformers, you need to read that story.
All right.
So, it's been several years, but I went on Comixology. They had it for $7.99.
For the whole set?
For the whole, yeah.
Oh,
basically
I'll buy it right now.
As a digital trade paperback. So I was like, yeah, what the heck? $8. And then we can talk about it on the show. Give me something to talk about. So...
you could have gifted me that.
Yeah, you could have.
You could have bought it for me.
But, I only bought it like 3 days ago. And so I didn't know if you'd have enough time.
I still think you're being selfish.
And you're like a woman, so what would I care? All right, but here's the thing. Last Stand of the Wreckers is basically built around the idea that this team, known as the Wreckers, is a suicide squad. So they're the type of guys who go into battle. 5 of them go into battle knowing full well that 1 or 2 of them probably won't be coming back.
When does this take place in the timeline, so to speak?
This takes place before the Transformers series that just ended. So timeline-wise, this is back when Megatron was dead. Optimus Prime was still leader of the Autobots. I don't know what else to tell you. What are you doing? Are you trying to find it?
Yeah.
What are you searching under?
I'll find it.
All right.
Back off.
All right, fair enough. So, not being the biggest, scholar on Transformers, the one thing that's kind of confusing is that the only 2 characters that you really recognize in the series are Perceptor. Is one of the characters, and he was the microscope transformer. If you remember, he was like red and blue microscope transformer when we were kids. The toy.
Okay.
He's the big one. And now, of course, I can't find Cup. If you remember in the movie, Cup is like the old man transformer. And he's in here too. He's part of the team. So he's like the gruff old man who tells people stories. And then Ultra Magnus is there as kind of the leader of the team. And he's the stand-in Optimus Prime, if you remember the animated movie. So a bunch of Transformers fans probably get mad at me for those descriptions, but whatever. So anyway, here's the whole idea. Here's the whole idea behind the story. Okay? There is this Decepticon named Overlord. And he thinks he should be the leader of the Decepticons. So he picks a fight.
Oh, there it is.
He picks a fight with Megatron, and then goes off to this prison planet. He takes over the prison planet and turns it into like his own like Roman Colosseum.
Okay.
Where he controls everything that happens, in this prison planet, and he makes, guys fight each other, to keep them happy, whatever. And he's making himself leader of all of these, prisoners and Decepticons and whatever, with the idea that eventually Megatron is going to come, and he's going to face off against Megatron, and he's going to show that he should be the true leader of the Decepticons. Okay? The Wreckers go in because there's a computer in this prison which basically has all of the secret war trials for the Autobots. Has all the records of these war trials. So there's like this extra political kind of intrigue like you would get from like a Tom Clancy type novel.
Right.
Because like the Autobots you think of as the good guys. But yet here are their recordings of their war trials from sometimes they, a lot of collateral damage happened. Sometimes innocent people died. Sometimes they, took matters into their own hands and weren't worried about.
So it's kind of like the fringe of...
Yeah, right. So they're going in to get the data off of this computer and destroy the computer before the Decepticons realize what's on this machine in this prison planet, right? So it's really set up like a summer action movie, If under
a Michael Bay movie,
not necessarily a Michael Bay movie, but in the sense of The Losers, or Red, or Sneakers, or any of those type of like pseudo spy, paramilitary. This could be a movie that had Bruce Willis and Sylvester Stallone, and
they must find the diamonds.
It could have been like an Expendables. It's really put together like one of those action type movies where they've got to go in and do this stuff and then try to escape, and guys aren't going to succeed, and whatever. And so it was really a lot of fun. It was not like Transformers,
right?
Like you're going to think of Transformers, but the closest analogy I can think is when you read Star Wars, Agent of the Empire.
Okay.
Agent of the Empire was James Bond set in the Star Wars universe.
Is this James Bond set
in
the Transformers universe?
No, this was The Losers,
okay, or
Red, set in the Transformers universe. Okay. And so under those terms, it was really... Now, I think there were... I did a little research afterwards and kind of read up on some of the message boards and whatever, and a lot of people were like, oh yeah, that's a really good story, but there were quite a few people that were kind of upset that it wasn't... there wasn't a lot of transforming going on, and there wasn't a lot of... There was no Optimus Prime, Megatron's not really in it, there's no key... big name Transformers, so people
right.
were a little upset as far as that stuff kind of goes. But
I could see where if you're a diehard, that would be a little offensive.
Right.
Just as like a lot of Star Wars fans probably were kind of like taken back by Agent of the Empire
because Han Solo's in that book,
yeah.
but Han Solo's not the star.
But he's more like
book.
A cameo.
Yeah, he's like a side character, He pops up on screen, so everybody goes yay in the theater, and then that's it.
There was a couple Chewie moments,
but yeah. So that's the closest thing. If you enjoy the same way you enjoy Agent of the Empire, is the same way you enjoy the Wreckers. And
right.
But one thing though is that it does start out jumping around in the past, in the future, in the present, whatever, and it does get really kind of confusing. So at first, when you start reading it, you kind of get confused because you don't know who any of these robots are, because you don't read the all the Transformers books. But then once you get past a certain point, it all starts to filter out and make sense. So you do have to give it some time. And that is going to wrap it up. What am I at? 34 minutes, sucker.
I know, I was trying to like...
34. Yeah, see, that's what I always have to do. I'm like, well, which ones? I'm
Okay,
going to pick up 5 that I really want to talk about.
So I'll just talk about 2 that I'm reading right now.
2?
Yeah. I'm gonna trim the fat.
And now we're yelling again.
Yeah. We are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, can you hand me another bush?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to break it down to 2. First, we'll start with Walking Dead.
Okay.
Minus the last issue just
Minus
came
the one
back.
that just came out today.
Okay. So you've got, the latest was Something to Fear, right? And before that was...
97 is
And
the
before that was A Larger World.
Right.
The conclusion.
Right.
So we're not going to talk about 98. We're just going to talk up to 97.
Okay.
Huh. So Rick has returned with all the supplies and all the gear, and is basically given the lowdown to the crew that they are basically...
They are going to become the enforcers,
right,
the police officers.
Scare off these incumbents that are going around taking everybody's supplies.
Right.
And that have threatened this quote-unquote ideal community. How many times have we heard Rick make the same speech? Or I'm just going to say it. You know, he makes the same speech where it's like, I have a vision.
At first it's, we can't do this. We can't survive. We are the Walking Dead. And then it's like, we can do this. We must work together. We have something to live for. And then 8 issues later, we can't do this. We can't survive.
So right now currently it's, you know,
we can do this. We must survive. Yes, that's the part of the cycle we're in now.
Oh, that's grand. So basically, the we can do this part is that he thinks that this community has a lot of potential. There's a lot of bodies there. He thinks he can like get together like an army of people, so to speak.
And he's also pretty sure that because they're so battle hardened at this point, that they can pretty much fight any threat.
No. Just a neighbor leaving, folks.
Okay.
Okay, so...
How's it going, sir?
Hi.
Do you like my shorts?
Shorts.
I'm wearing little cutoffs.
What else can I say about this? There's the whole Andrea-Rick relationship thing going on, too.
You haven't read 98 yet.
Glenn and the big guy with the... No, is it Glenn? And the big guy with the ponytail are off?
No, it's not Glenn.
It's not Glenn, it's the other guy. It's the blonde-haired guy.
Abraham is the big guy. And
Abraham,
then there's
Abraham.
the weirdo guy who thinks they can make bullets from the local foundry.
And they're being stalked by this... What's the name of this clan crew?
Like Naga?
It's named after like the guy that's like...
Yeah, and it's like Naga or something like that is the dude's name. And...
But it is great though that like I love that, just like any good politician, Rick knows when he needs to grow a pair, you know, and I think that like you know, the way he stood up to, and that was kind of a slaughter when those guys rolled up in those motorcycles.
They killed all except for one and left him to go back and deliver the message.
So we know it's going to get ugly, and you don't know how big of a force they have, too. Are they just a roving band that know how to like terrorize?
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing because they're very.
Or
easily
what if
could
they're
be
like an army of 50,
200 or something?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And they have a tank, you know. So just like the governor.
Maybe
it's the governor's cousin.
So, God, we can't talk. Well, here's what we can talk about though. You know, people who read the trade paperbacks, I don't know if they print all the letters columns or whatever. But if you read the regular issues, you get all the letters columns. And recently, Kirkman decided to finally give the origin of Michonne by publishing a short story in Playboy magazine. And of course, someone wrote in and said, like, why the hell did you put this in Playboy? I'm not going to go out and buy a Playboy. He's like, I'm married, I've got 2 kids, I'm not bringing one of those into my house. So I'm going to have to go out and pirate this stupid thing just so I can read it and see it. Like, why would you put something original in something like Playboy instead of like some sort of recap story or You know, something like that. Which I think is an incredibly valid question. And, of course, Kirkman's response is just this, like, flippant, kind of dickheadish... Like,
ooh, you use
yeah, I know. I'm using it. We're going there. We're old enough now. We're 22 years old episodes here. But he just kind of gave this dickhead response. It's like, well... don't you want people to read comics? And if I put something like that in a book, someone may go, hey, this is interesting, and pick up a trade, and then they're going to start reading comics, and we might pick up one new reader, and that makes everything worth it.
Okay, I'm going to be devil's advocate here, because I'm a little sympathetic to Kirkman on that front. I think sometimes you have to branch out, and maybe you don't like the way he said it, but I do appreciate that sometimes you have to branch out and hit different medias.
Well, yeah,
to try to like grasp.
But why
some readers?
But if that's the answer, then you could easily take something that's already printed and print an excerpt. You know, print a couple pages from an issue that's already out.
So you're saying don't do anything other than comic to comic?
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that you can
other
reprint,
published material other than
no. I'm saying you can reprint, or you can do like some sort of new recap. Like you can do a 6-page what happened in the first year to get people to know the characters, to feel how it's different.
You're dancing around what I'm saying, though. What I'm saying is, do you think... So what you're saying is not acceptable to try to introduce comics in some other like publication, like random publication like Penthouse or Playboy?
No. Well, there's a difference between random publication and saying you're going to put it in Penthouse or Playboy.
I'm also presenting that argument too. Do you think there's like a moral kind of here we go?
I don't know if
sex sells, comic sells. Let's put them together.
There's a difference between saying I like this comic book about zombies and I'm going to go out and buy a Playboy
and read about zombies,
so I can get this 6-page origin that's never been told before of one of the key characters of this ongoing storyline.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I thought it was a neat gimmick. I thought it was kind of cool.
Well, myself. Yeah, it's a neat story, but not in Playboy. Like, why not put it in Time?
Yeah,
why not put it in Entertainment Weekly?
Why not put it in Time and Playboy? What's the matter with the media?
But then that puts it in not an adult magazine. Like, I'm not going to have a Playboy sitting around my house.
Okay.
You know, I've got 2 kids.
So why not have... What you're saying is if you're going to do that, maybe do it in both.
Wouldn't you think Entertainment Weekly would be a better fit? At the time that the Season 2 finale is wrapping up on TV, you put that 6-page story in Entertainment Weekly. You've got half of the people reading Entertainment Weekly are probably watching the show. They read through and they go, oh, that's what the comic's like. That's kind of interesting, and maybe they'll go pick it up. That's your target demographic much more than people who are picking up Playboy.
You know what? That would marketing sense. That does make a lot more sense.
Because, I mean, the people who buy Playboy are either A, pervs, or B, people who just want a lot of cologne samples, right? Like, oh, I got to pick up that new Playboy and get that cologne sample from page 85. So they can lift the flap and rub it on their chin.
Let's face it, it's either 20-something men or between 50 and 65.
I don't even know that's 20-something men, isn't it? Like,
no, because it's like one of those, like, have it on your coffee table. I live alone.
But that's not even 20-something men. That's like 15 to 19-year-old men.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was just... But what upset me more, though, I think, was really the tone of his response. Where he was like, why don't you get the fact that I'm a genius when it comes to marketing? It was basically what his response was. And it's like, in 2 seconds, I've come up with a better avenue for you to publish your material to bring in new readers. Okay. You know what I mean? So, because normally, if someone criticizes, he kind of goes with this tone of like, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand that, you don't like that this character got killed, and it kind of sucks when you like a character and they're gone, you know, and blah, blah, blah. He usually is very polite about it. And this one time he was flippant, and it was about stupid Playboy magazine. Right. You know what I mean? Like, why, out of all the places, like, Playboy magazine would be the last thing I would defend on this planet. You know what I mean? Like, just top to bottom.
Now you see why I only picked 2.
Oh yeah, what was your other one?
ASM at World's End. What do you think about the whole Ends of the Earth? Or
at World's End. That was like Pirates of the
Caribbean. Yeah.
Well, have you read? Did you read the special that came out?
Yes.
Okay. And then was there an Amazing after that?
Maybe. I'm
Okay,
a
you haven't.
couple
So the
behind.
special is the last thing you read,
Yeah.
where it had like Union Jack,
Right.
It had like the Japanese,
Right. It was like the
crew.
recap of what's going on with each of them. So
Well, what do you think of the special? First of all,
it seemed like a recap to me. I could have read it or not read it.
Well,
it didn't
it was these two random group. Well, it was like Union Jack. It was the Japanese.
It was like
people.
the Japanese. Yeah.
It's like you didn't need to read it.
No.
Like there was nothing important
No.
other than the fact that I think Union Jack got them that chip that they wanted.
Right.
You know, but otherwise.
But the main ASM title, I'm very pleased with what's going on.
Yeah, I think that special. If you haven't bought it, you don't need to buy it.
Right.
But as far as the regular series going on with here's the one thing
Sinister
that,
Six and
the
Doc
one
Ock
thing
and,
that I don't like though was J. Jonah Jameson shows up again in Horizon
I'm gonna
Labs.
shut this
I'm
place
shutting
down."
this place down. You people are.
But
a
what I
menace.
like is what's the lead of Horizon? What's his name? He's like, oh, forget you. I'll just get my yacht.
Steve Jobs with a goatee.
I'll just get
whatever.
my nuclear powered yacht, and we'll just do it out there in the international waters.
Yeah, we're gonna go out. We're gonna go in the middle of the ocean where you can't touch us. Which, like, I don't know. That part was just kind of like really.
It
Like, this is
was
what they're-
unnecessary,
But
they had to answer it.
It's like with everything else going on, and you're gonna have them show up. I do like the idea that the masses of humanity are just stupid.
Right,
They're like, well, yeah, this works out best for us. Let's go for it.
right.
You know, we're gonna go away. We're gonna go with Doc Ock's plan.
Yeah, and you know what I love? It reminded me of like the classic well, no, I mean I say classic, like 80s comics with like the different commentators.
Like in Dark Knight.
Like in Dark Knight or
Dark Knight Returns.
There was a Batman we covered where it was like that. It was all
The Cult.
The Cult. Thank you. It was just this like massive perspective, masses perspective, and
Average person on the street.
right.
They're all a menace. They should all be locked up.
And and what's great is once again Spider-Man's like, God, doesn't anybody see it's Doc Ock, for crying out loud? He's got the Sinister Six working for him, and you think he's gonna save the Earth?
This is not UNICEF. This is
Right.
Sinister Six.
Yeah.
We call them Sinister Six for a reason.
They're not the Sassy Six, And of course, basically, Sinister Six becomes like the not so sinister Four.
Oh wait, did this?
Because Chameleon gets taken out, and who else?
Well, didn't they take care of Sandman?
Sandman.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Was the special also where they had the kangaroo?
The Avengers
guy?
helped with Sandman.
The special, was that where they had the kangaroo guy in the
Yes.
Australian outback?
Uh-huh.
The guy who totally failed.
Right.
Who's like, yeah, I'm gonna take care of this for you, and then blam, he's gone.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, okay, sucks to be him. So at least that part was fun of the whole storyline. But yeah, I mean, that it's going to somehow end up with Spider-Man trying to save Doc Ock from dying.
Right. But he's gonna die.
Right.
Doc Ock looks rough too. I love how like the progression.
He's like a head in a jar.
Oh, he's
with a
just
bunch of
getting. He's
robots.
just getting so bad. Like he's so deteriorated. Like.
Well, he's almost like a Futurama character
Right.
now. He's like
Yeah.
head in a jar with a robot body with a bunch of tentacles. I think I saw that on Futurama.
Yeah.
So at least we know what Dan Slott is watching.
That's right. But so basically right now, AVX and ASM.
Are you reading all the AVX stuff?
I am, but I'm just saying, like in my mind, those are the two big Marvel storylines. And I'm still a big fan of what ASM, what Slott's doing with ASM. The art is always still really good.
Although it is, they do rotate artists,
Right.
and sometimes you get those one or two issues where you're just kind of like, "Urgh," but then it goes back to fine afterwards.
Actually, I didn't really care for the art in the special.
Right, that was one of those where it just felt rushed.
Yeah. Like they slapped it together.
It's
so to speak.
it's Spider-Man, Silver Sable, and who's the third person? There's another female.
A Black Cat.
Black Cat, that's it. And Spider-Man in his Sinister Six armor.
Yeah, and
which
and
will be an
basically-
action figure on shelves by next summer.
Yeah, I like that armor. Do you like it?
It's all right.
It's like the Iron Man suit.
Yeah, it's also though. I like the big time suit. Can we go back to that for 5 minutes, please?
The big time suit.
Yeah, the big time suit. The Tron suit. The black one with the green lines on it. Yeah. And
that was the one where he like went invisible, right?
He used that. Yeah, I think so. And he used that for like an issue. It was like big time.
But that's when he was going through several suits. He had different.
Well, he did that, and then suddenly he was in the Fantastic Future Foundation suit.
But
the FF suit.
One thing I want to point out though is they are still staying true in ASM to the main. Like, even though he's made it big and he's working for Horizon, he's still got it rough. He's still misunderstood. He's still trying to fight the good cause, even though everybody's against him. He's still underappreciated. They hinted that Mary Jane is going to somehow make him be recognized this time. But, we'll see. So he's still that downtrodden, hero that we love. But,
I mean, things are looking better for him in general than they had been.
It'll all crush down on him.
Something will go wrong eventually.
Right. I think he's going to take Doc Ock dying pretty hard, myself. But
do you think he'll go crazy and become Doc Ock?
No.
You don't think so?
No. A spider can't become an octopus. Can't have an octopus and a spider. Cat can spider.
Cat can have baby kittens in an oven, but that don't make them biscuits.
Just got to say none of legs. Doesn't mean the same creature. By the way, what a fantastic night. Could this not be any more perfect? See, we need to move to
although your neighbors are going to be pissed that we're out here being loud in the middle of the night.
That's okay. It's all right. We're not really that loud.
But anyway.
No, it's like San Diego.
Anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. So next, we're going to do Night of the Owls.
Well, we're going to take a commercial break.
Right.
We're going to go pee.
Right.
We're going to find some snacks.
Right.
We're going to maybe hop in this pool naked for a little bit.
Ooh.
Yeah, your wife said she'd come out and videotape us if we went skinny dipping in the pool.
She did?
So, yeah, she did.
Okay.
I don't think she said she'd be joining us, but she said she'd film us.
No, that's definitely not going to happen.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The cow's name's Ellie Mae, or
the dude's name is Ellie Mae. I'm not exactly sure.
Kelly.
Kelly could be a boy's name.
Welcome back, folks, to another episode, half, quarter, partition.
What the heck are you even talking about?
Another segment of Comiholics.
Oh. Are we still doing this show?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was waiting for the shield helicarrier to land before we started recording again. I kind of forgot what we were doing here.
Right.
So what are we going to talk about?
I don't know.
Let's talk about the Man of Bats.
There's lots of bats going. Lots of owls, lots of bats.
Isn't that how you're supposed to refer to him, as the Man of Bats?
In the formal sense.
In the formal sense. In the biblical sense. Ooh, he is the Man of Bats.
You're going to know him in a biblical
I know him in a biblical way.
Wow.
That is to say, he read me the Bible. Okay. Well, I guess if we're going to talk about Night of the Owls... Okay, wait. I want to go back before we start this storyline proper. When DC New 52 started, I made a comment after about the first month or second month that I said Nightwing and Batman were running almost the exact same story. And it seemed silly to me that unless there's some sort of connection between the two books, it just seems like a total breakdown on the part of the editor that these two books are doing almost
you mean like
the exact
the circus
same
story with Nightwing and...
Well, the fact that there's like this killer coming after them is part of some sort of secret from the past that was unclear.
Right.
Because you had this killer trying to track down Dick Grayson and kill him at the same time. Batman kept running into the owl guy.
Right.
And it just seemed like it felt like it was the same story happening in both books. And I said, if there's not a connection, this is the dumbest thing that they've got the two stories going on at the same time. Well, hey, guess what? The stories were connected.
Right.
There was a reason why the same thing was going on in both books.
I really like Scott Snyder's Gates of Gotham, too.
You just want to date the man.
I do.
You want to leave your wife and go date Scott Snyder.
No, it's not gay if it's just one man. Just one man in particular.
Oh, I
just
see.
that guy.
It's a man crush
That's
on that
right.
one man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm mushing over him.
I see. Well, everybody gets David Bowie. I mean, that was like a given. And then you can have one more, I guess, beyond that.
Yeah.
All right.
So Gates of Gotham was actually the architecture set up.
So explain to everybody about Gates of Gotham. That was like a, 5-issue?
5 or 6. It's been a while since I read it.
Because that came out in the beginning of 2011, I think.
Right.
So explain to everybody real quick what happened in that one.
Basically, it describes the architects of the future skyscrapers and superstructures of Gotham City.
So the people who are designing the ones for the future?
Right. Well, and the powers that be that are influencing the designers.
All right, stop for a second. When you say the future skyscrapers...
Okay, so, well, it's taking place in the 1800s.
Oh, so not the future skyscrapers.
No, I'm sorry.
So, people in the past working to build Gotham City that we know of today.
And it's involving the major...
families?
Families. You've got the Cobblepots, you've got the Waynes. I'm on the spot here. It's like 4 main families.
The same ones. Oh, have you been reading All-Star Western?
Right.
It's
yeah,
the
and that's
same
tied
families.
in. Yeah,
right,
and that kind of makes that's like the prequel of Gates of Gotham.
So Gates of Gotham is kind of in between All-Star
Western
and the current Batman.
And now.
Okay.
And leading up to the Court of Owls, which is the secret society.
Okay.
Basically, the secret society has a major influence in all the major superstructures in Gotham.
Okay.
More or less. And
because it was the wealthy family.
Well, the story of Gates of Gotham is based around like the actual architects, the people designing the two brothers. I think it was 2 brothers.
Okay.
There's a lot of tragedy involved as far as like, a lot of death as far going on, and a lot of decisions being made about how the city is going to be formed, and lo and behold, the Court of Owls have been kind of the puppet masters the whole time. And
I like Puppet Master. That was a good movie.
Yeah, and they feel it's like their place to decide when society has gone wrong and they need to step in, more or less.
Was there in Gates of Gotham? Was there any sort of hint of the owls?
Yes, and I need to go back and read it because there definitely was. In fact,
maybe I need to go out and buy that one.
There's this. Maybe I'm getting. You read so much, so maybe I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure there's a scene where Bruce Wayne goes into this abandoned house, into this attic, because he's trying to make a connection. What's
between the families
in
Gates of Gotham,
and he goes up into this attic. I need to go back and do some more reading. You read so much because you're trying to make sure that you cover everything.
Right.
But there was a connection, like he's on a search to try to find, the headquarters or any sliver of evidence of the Court of Owls. So, Gates, and that's what they even talked about in the panel, was that that was definitely the lead into.
That's right, because you went to the DC panel at C2E2.
Right. The New 52.
Right.
Which they talked about basically all the Night of Owls coming out.
Okay. Night of Owls, I guess you can kind of separate out what's happening with Nightwing from the attack of Night of Owls.
Right.
We find out that Nightwing himself...
Dick Grayson was slated to be an owl.
He was going to... a Talon.
A Talon,
A Talon. Those are the assassins of the Court of Owls.
Handpicked by the court.
And
what the court does with these guys is... And what's... Okay. Real quick, the breakdown is... You've got all these different Talons, and they're all brought back from the dead. From different timelines. from when the court used them as assassins, and either A, they were killed and put basically in cryogenic freeze until they're ready to be brought back, or for whatever reason they needed to be retired, and then they're...
Right. And apparently, the guy who ran the circus, Mr. Haley, who ran Haley Circus, or Dick
was
Grayson,
not a nice man.
Well, apparently he was tied into this somehow, and he would help them find people who were up-and-coming gymnasts who would make good assassins. And he would slate them for, being taken away by the Court of Owls. And so Dick Grayson's parents were murdered by the court so that he would be an orphan and they'd be able to take him to be an assassin. Instead, of course, Bruce Wayne stepped in and took him to
What did you think about that, where they stepped into... Okay, because they stepped into some major DC history there by saying, oh, the court killed his parents. How'd you feel about that? That was a major decision to say, okay...
Yeah.
I mean, that's solidifying this story
but they're also teasing...
into the history of these characters.
But they're also teasing, though, that the Court of Owls may have also killed Bruce and Martha Wayne.
Okay.
Because they're kind of teasing that with the whole backup story with Alfred's dad and him working with the Waynes and everything like that. So it looks like Scott Snyder may be rewriting a good deal of the Batman history by bringing in this whole, Court of Owls and everything. Okay. And I'm fine with that. Yeah. So Dick Grayson should have been a Talon. Instead, he escaped with Bruce Wayne. So another guy got pulled from the circus to become an assassin. He didn't work out as well. He ran away, whatever. He came back to get Dick Grayson. About the same time he came to attack Dick Grayson is about the same time that the Owls came to try to capture Bruce Wayne, because they knew that somehow Batman was connected. They wanted to try to steal Batman to, break him down, and that's been the whole storyline basically in Batman. Right. Was the Court of Owls trying to capture him, brainwash him.
Well, let's break down all the tie-ins. You've got Batman, Batman Dark Knight, Detective Comics Batman, Batman and Robin, Catwoman, Batwoman.
Batwoman is not tied into Night of the Owls.
Okay. Okay. Nope. Batgirl,
Catwoman,
Red Hood and the Outlaws, All-Star Western, Batwing, and Birds of Prey.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
That's a lot.
That is a lot
of
bugs.
It's like all of Gotham, basically. But
okay, so
and the way that the main entryway for all these characters is, they've been sent this message from Alfred that an APB, so to speak, of attention all heroes.
In Batman 9, they storm the Batcave,
right?
And so Alfred sends out a thing saying, "Hey, we found this list. They're attacking. They're going to go after all these people in one night. We need everybody out there who can lend a hand to go help track these people down, make sure they're safe, stop them from being killed." And we know that they fail. We know that there are quite a few people who get murdered because we see these shots before anyone can get there to try to stop them. These shots of people like in the bathtub or coming home from work or whatever and getting off.
Right.
So they aren't able to save everybody. But we do see some of the
Isn't even Alfred shooting with a pistol, fending them off in the Batcave?
Well, yeah, Alfred.
Aren't you getting the perception that he's basically on the mic at the same time, taking shots at?
No, because they show later on when he's talking, that's happening in the background. That's Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
Fighting with them, making that bang bang in the background. But yeah, but you do kind of get that idea at first, I guess, because if you don't really see it. So the main story with Bruce is that they've broken into the mansion. They're attacking. He's got to lower the temperature because he somehow finds out that if you can, drop the temperature low enough, they basically freeze again.
Right.
He's got this big bat suit of armor, which he uses to fight him off and escape. And then he goes to save his friend, who's the city councilman who's running for mayor or whatever. And he gets there too late. The guy's been shot. He dies. And then
It goes from there.
we have the next part of that hasn't come out yet, but that's the main Bruce Wayne story.
Now, you did your research before the show.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay, what did I research?
So we're going from Night of the Owls into...
Oh, Court of the Owls is the next part of the storyline. So Night of the Owls technically appears to end with Batman Annual number 1, and then now it's going to be the Court of the Owls, or Court of Owls. I'm not sure. Court of Owls or Court of the Owls, whatever, which is going to be the follow-up storyline. So, okay, here's my problem.
I was waiting for this. I was waiting for the dirt conundrum.
Here's the butt. Every story has the big butt, Dottie. Let's talk about your big butt. All right, here's the big butt.
Oh, my God.
Okay, Nightwing 8 came out, so Night of the Owls prelude. Okay?
Bam.
Okay. And then you got Batman 8. Night of the Owls begins.
Bam. Look
Okay.
at me. I'm like right on schedule here.
All right. The next book that came out in Night of the Owls was Detective Comics number 9.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, see, look, I got the combo pack. Mine was different.
Oh, I didn't
All
get
right.
the combo pack. How come I didn't get the combo pack?
Because you didn't ask for the combo pack. It's $1 more expensive.
Oh, damn.
All right. In Detective Comics 9, Batman is out of the mansion,
Right.
going
Seeking
out
justice
and
He's
fighting.
Pissed. He's pissed.
But in Batman 8, it ends with him stuck in the mansion in his big suit of armor, telling all the big towns, come and get me. He's getting ready for a fight. So when you go from
8 to 9.
from Batman 8 to Detective 9, which was the next book, suddenly you've skipped a whole bunch of story. How the hell did he get out? What happened? I don't understand. Why is he...
Are you okay?
Suddenly... Well, it just, like that didn't make any sense. Okay, so then we go to Batgirl. And Batgirl, for whatever reason, there's a female Alice. The only female we've ever seen...
Because we got to see some chick on
The
chick
only,
combat.
yeah, so it's like, okay, they had to come up with a female to fight the female. That was the dumbest. I don't know if that was Gail Simone. I did not like her on Firestorm, and if this is the ideas that she's coming up with for Batgirl, come on. Seriously? You had to have a female to fight because she can't stand up to a man? Is that what you're trying to say?
Ooh. Ouch.
Alright. So then, Batman and Robin 9.
I liked it.
Well, I like Damian and Dick Grayson
Right.
working together. And that's what you got in there. Again, not super important, central to the storyline, but it was at least
they
fun.
kick butt. If you want to see them kick butt and, like, you know, you want to see Damian do his, you know, borderline psychotic behavior, then you've got it.
All right, so then we get Batman number 9. And Batman number 9, suddenly Batman is back in the Batcave. And he's in the suit of armor, and he's fighting all the Talon guys. And then he escapes, and then he goes to find his friend, which is what you saw in Detective 9, which came out a couple weeks before Batman 9. You understand?
So what you're saying is the order that these were released.
The order in these were released is not the order they should be read. And that's a big problem.
Right.
Because basically, Batman 9 should have come out before any of these other books. And it didn't. It came out in the middle of everything. Then you get Batwing 9, which basically Batwing is at this big gala opening and somebody attacks, and of course he's able to stop them, and it was really just your most basic throwaway, unimportant...
Which I have liked Batwing.
Yeah, I think Batwing has been really good up until this point because they shoehorned him into the crossover.
Right. So
it's not important to Night of the Owls, and it's not important to Batwing. It doesn't really play into his storyline. It doesn't really play into the other storylines. So that was really disappointing. We got Batman the Dark Knight 9, which was Red Robin getting into a fight with a Talon. And then I think Damian and Nightwing show up in the end of this one.
Actually, I think I like that one.
I don't like Red Robin in this universe.
Okay.
I don't like the way they've remade him. I dropped the Teen Titans book. You know, I'm not reading that one anymore. Red Robin was one of my favorite characters in the previous universe. I loved his series. And then now the way he is in this universe, I don't like him at all. And that's I don't know. So that one I could live with.
I really like the art in the Dark Knight one. I thought it had that.
Well, that's that's David Finch.
Yeah.
So he's a well-known, well-respected artist. I think he worked on Avengers back when you were getting into Avengers.
I like the
Maybe
fade
it was
in.
New Avengers. I'm not sure.
What he does when he fades in and out of the frames, like here when the
okay, yeah. So this is the other thing is that goes back to the storyline from the end of Batman 9.
Uh-huh.
In Batman 9, he goes to find his friend. Then we get the Dark Knight, which says, to find out more, make sure you read Batman 9, which came out 2 weeks before the Dark Knight came out.
Right.
So again, it's saying if you want more, go back and read this book you probably read already. All right.
This one actually turned me on to maybe start reading the Dark Knight.
Oh, you got turned on, huh?
Ooh. I mean, I am sitting at the tiki bar.
Tiki bar. All right. So then, All-Star Western. All-Star
Which,
Western.
that's my first issue that I've read of All-Star Western.
Really? I've been reading the series along. It's really good. So he, of course, runs across Talon in the Old West. Well, Old Gotham. And again, it was fine. It gives you a little bit of history, but I don't know that it's really important.
It could have not existed.
I mean, yeah. It could have come out 2 years ago.
Other than
whatever.
it does give a frame of reference with the timeline like we had talked about, where basically All-Star Western is the prequel of Gates of Gotham, then there's Gates of Gotham, and then there's Now.
Right. Okay, so then Nightwing 9.
Oh, there's a female
There's the female.
Talon.
So I think that's the same female who gets brought back for.
Well, there you
Batgirl.
go. That explains why.
So we
Gail
did see her one other time. Okay, well.
That's why
whatever.
Gail Simone did it.
Yeah, well, it's still stupid. All right, Nightwing 9. Nightwing, of course, runs across another Talon, fighting the guy. Now, this is the weird thing about Nightwing. In Nightwing 9, he falls out of a building and he finds that it's like snowing and there's ice on the ground. And he doesn't really know why, but he doesn't really pause to figure out. He just kind of keeps running. He just kind of, at one point, falls out of the building, lands on the snow and ice, and you have snow and ice on the ground. Okay, fine, whatever. That doesn't really get addressed until Red Hood and the Outlaws 9. Because in Red Hood and the Outlaws 9, they go to help Mr. Freeze, who's being attacked by the Talons. Mr. Freeze has been spraying, apparently, ice and snow all over part of Gotham to try to get somewhere. And Red Hood and the Outlaws go to try to get him and stop him. And they end up tasering him at the end. But the reason why there was snow and ice on the ground in Nightwing was because of what happened in Red Hood and the Outlaws. But Red Hood and the Outlaws didn't come out till after Nightwing. So again, there's snow and ice on the ground. You don't know why until you find out that before the book you've already read, Mr. Freeze gets out, but you don't know he gets out until you've already read the book that shows the aftermath of him getting out. So again, another book released out of order kind of screwed up the storyline. Birds of Prey, I read it. I couldn't tell you a single thing about this.
No.
It was... All I remember is them running around town and this thing's killing and they can't stop them. And they end up like throwing it on a train or something. I don't know, it's stupid. Catwoman. Catwoman is going to steal from the Penguin. A Talon shows up to kill Oswald Cobblepot. And she and her boy toy, whatever his name is, go in to fight off the Talon.
Yeah, who is that dude? And
I don't know. I haven't been reading Catwoman because it's been stupid. So then, now we've come to Batman Annual number 1, which just came out, and this has the story of Mr. Freeze. And in this story, Mr. Freeze escapes from Arkham Asylum.
And you find out that...
you find out his history, you find out his motivation. He's always trying to save his wife, and you find out who she really is, and all this stuff. But here's the thing. When you get to the end of Batman Annual number 1... and Batman finds Mr. Freeze and knocks him out and sends him back to Arkham Asylum. Well, in Red Hood and the Outlaws, they found Mr. Freeze and they knocked him out so that they could take him back to Arkham Asylum. So did he escape from Arkham Asylum twice in one night? Or when Red Hood and the Outlaws, did they go to take him back and he escaped from them and then Batman found him? Like, what the hell is going on with Mr. Freeze? Is he like the biggest...
He's Houdini.
The #1 escapee from Arkham Asylum now, all of a sudden? Like, how? Like, what? And it's one... I'm so frustrated by this whole crossover. Because, again, going back to the first issues of Nightwing and Batman with the relaunch of DC The New 52, I said these books have got to be building up to something together, or this doesn't work. And then we find out that they were, and then we find out all this history.
It still didn't work.
Well, all this history of Dick Grayson and the Owls. We found out all this history of Batman getting kidnapped, and all the brainwashing stuff. I thought that was great. All this great stuff building up to it. I got really excited. I said I'm going to buy every single one of these issues because I'm so excited for it. And then it comes out, and everything is out of order, out of place, out of time, and all of these books, Batwing, Birds of Prey, Catwoman, you could have just thrown them away and never read them, and it wouldn't have made a lick of difference.
I don't like how it turned out that it was kind of like a search and rescue with all of the different tie-ins.
Like,
instead of more about
them being targeted?
Yes.
Like, it would have been better if they were targeting Nightwing and targeting Robin.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, just going after these political figures.
Yeah. What did you think, though, about the fact that Batman failed to save his friend? Bruce Wayne failed to save his friend. He was the city council guy running for mayor.
And they didn't make a big deal about it.
Well, they haven't yet, but technically it's still the same night. But, I mean, that character...
I don't think anything about it, really.
Well, because that character has been kind of, like... Batman seemed kind of demotivated, and then his friend came along who was running for office, and suddenly he felt like a kindred spirit. And
it was his Harvey Dent all over again.
Kind of, I guess. And then now he's dead.
Yeah.
So is it now just kind of like, whatever, now he's dead?
I bet that's how they'll take it. So let me ask you this. Of all of the crossovers, which ones do you think had weight? And which ones do you think, like, were worthy of reading? Because for me, it's Red Robin, Batman.
You mean The Dark Knight?
No.
Wait, okay. You're gonna.
No, I'm sorry. Nightwing.
Okay.
All right. Nightwing. The Dark Knight was good. The main Batman title was good, other than the confusion of their timeline.
Right.
Detective, I'm kind of like you on that. I've been waiting on it anyways. So how it all tied into it.
I mean, I liked Nightwing. I liked finding that Dick Grayson was part of this conspiracy. I thought that played into the story well. The Talon who came after him is like his own grandfather.
Right.
Who was an assassin. So that was interesting. So I think Nightwing works. Batman, of course, is the key part of the story. I mean, it's the story of Bruce Wayne, so whatever. So that works. Detective, I don't think is as successful as Batman, but I still can see it as being key part of the story. Batgirl, pointless. Batman and Robin was fun. It was entertaining, but not a key part of the story. But if you enjoy Night of the Owls and you're only buying like Batman, go ahead and pick up the Batman and Robin and the Nightwings that tie into it, because I think you'll enjoy them.
But I mean, we both agree that even though you like All-Star Western, you could do without it.
Yeah, it's not key. Batwing,
no,
that disappointed me on so many levels. Just because I like the series, and now it's like there's this one issue of the series that I don't like. You know, Red Hood and the Outlaws, terrible, pointless, don't need to read it, out of place. Birds of Prey, less than pointless, terrible, don't need to read it. Catwoman, pointless, terrible, don't need to read it. Batman Annual.
Well, I think the general theme that we're seeing here, folks, is that I think that their mission was to add a lot of validity to all these tie-ins, but it just didn't jive. And I kind of saw where they were going in the beginning, and I got excited like you. I thought that they had built a really good foundation for this story that could just spread out, you know?
Right.
And then it turned into this, like, bizarre search and rescue manhunt that just didn't... it didn't translate well throughout the other different titles. And... you know, I mean, you named maybe a third of them that you would actually go back and buy if you know, in hindsight. So, what do we have to say about Night of the Owls? I think we both agree that it had a lot of potential.
It had a lot of potential. I think the key backbone of the story
was good.
Is good
Yeah.
and important to the Batman mythos.
Right.
But as far as
you can see, they did go on a ledge and put some weight into these stories as far as tying into the history of Batman, you know.
Right.
And Gotham City.
Right.
Most importantly. You know.
But the idea that they created this crossover event, this, you know, major monthly, like the whole month of Bat Books is dedicated to Night of the Owls, and all these characters are going to be involved, and everybody from the Bat family will be there, and, you know, Batgirl will be a key character.
And you know what? There was
Red Hood will be
there was
a key
no
character.
great tragedy either.
Not yet. Although I think
didn't you feel like there should have been?
Well,
though?
I think the main thing was finding out that Dick Grayson, his parents were
that he
murdered.
should have been
his
a
parents,
Talon.
Yeah, his parents were murdered by the Owls, and possibly Bruce Wayne's parents were murdered by the Owls. So the fact that those two are Batman and Nightwing, were Batman and Robin, the fact that they became crime fighters is solely because of the influence of the Court of Owls.
Right.
So basically, if the Court of Owls hadn't been messing around with the Waynes and the Graysons, there'd be no Batman, there would have been no Nightwing.
Right.
But because they were trying to play their little tricks, it backfired on them, and they created their own worst enemy. But I will say the one really super interesting thing that came out of it is the Batman Annual. Because the Batman Annual just came out today, Wednesday, that we're recording this, and it retells the history of Mr. Freeze in the new DC universe, and it's not the same as Mr. Freeze in the comics, or in the animated series, or in the movie, or any of those places.
Completely different perspective.
It starts out the same. Like, it starts out like you think that it is going to be the same, but he throws some twists, which is why I think, like, the way he threw twists into the storyline, because this was written by Snyder. So the way he threw twists into this storyline, changing Mr. Freeze, and the way he threw twists into Nightwing, Dick Grayson, and changed his history.
You think it was a way to kind of like correct Night of the Owls?
Well, no, I think because it happened to Dick Grayson, because it's happened here to Mr. Freeze, that's why I kind of think it's also going to happen to Bruce Wayne. That's why it's going to turn out that they killed his parents.
Right.
Like, we haven't seen that yet. We haven't read that yet, but I think he's, like, mentally preparing you for it. Like, it happened to Dick, it happened to Mr. Freeze, now it's going to happen to Bruce, you know, so that you're ready for it. He's laying that foundation. But the way he changed Mr. Freeze makes him much more of a bad guy. Because before, he was kind of a misguided...
No, now you see his sinister nature.
Yeah,
you know
now he's just straight up crazy evil, you know. Whereas before, you were like, well, he's trying to...
Well, yeah, because they try to hint at the center of, like, where he lost his heart, so to speak. You know, and at first he thought it was because he was obsessing over this woman that he loves, only to find out that this...
Well, wait, are we going to spoil it?
No, okay, I see.
I mean, it just came out.
Yeah.
Do we want to spoil it already?
Only to find out that there's other drama, blah, 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 blah.
Dun, dun, dun.
There you go. There's lots of dun-dun-duns in there about the origin of why Mr. Freeze ticks, so to speak. So I think you're going to learn a lot about what motivates him and why he is definitely... It seems like that DC has finally embraced Mr. Freeze and brought him back as a kind of a force to be reckoned with,
and
as far as villains go.
Yeah,
so.
and they made him into more than just this guy who's got a freeze gun.
Right.
You know? What killed the dinosaurs?
Yeah.
The Ice Age!
No, this is not your
Arnold?
Arnold.
Yeah.
Knockoff Warner Brothers movie.
So,
parody.
yeah, I enjoyed the annual. That was... Is that a $3.99 or a $4.99? That was a $4.99. But it was good.
It's long. It's voluminous.
Voluminous. Like my hair. Voluminous. It won't
Yes,
bounce
it
and it won't
is.
behave. Alright, so
I guess we're both kind of mixed on it. I think there's a lot of good content in there, but there's also a lot of stuff that
a lot of just wasted space.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of fat they could have cut from this storyline. And I think it was a mistake to just make it into
all these tie-ins.
a monthly. Yeah, like if it was just in the Bat books, the Batman, Dark Knight, Batman and Robin, Detective, and Nightwing, and just left it there, I think it would have been a lot better. A lot more focused. Would have made a lot more sense. And the publishing schedule. I mean, what the hell? Like, who's the editor of these books? Who says, like, oh, yeah, you know what?
9's actually supposed to be 7.
You know what?
Let's just make it 9.
Right in the middle of that storyline, we're going to pause for a month and have 6 other books come in between. And then eventually we'll come back to that.
Maybe you don't know what's behind the scenes. Maybe like they struggle to get the creative minds to get their, poop in a group.
No, they're just stupid. They're just stupid. All right, well, I think I'm ready for bed.
How far are we in this? It's only been 20 minutes. This is a 20-minute show.
This is 34 minutes for part 2.
Okay.
Part 1 was like, what, 40-something? Yeah. So, we're doing all right. We're over an hour. We're as long now as 3 episodes of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
So I want to talk to you about next Comiholics. I will actually be, everything goes according to schedule, I'll be on an island on the Georgia coast in about a week.
You're going to be waiting out the zombie apocalypse?
That's right. So, barring a zombie apocalypse, I think
Isn't that the storyline of Dawn of the Dead?
Yeah, they like go to
remake.
an island.
They just want to get on the boat and go to the island.
Right. So I'll tell you what. Why don't we do a Comiholics? We'll Skype something because I'll have Wi-Fi in the beach house.
Yeah, you say, but we'll probably get there. Your Wi-Fi will be terrible.
Maybe. You never know.
Although I can call you on your regular cell phone.
Yeah,
and
data.
record that.
Your data. I was
No. I mean, like I can get on my Skype and call your cell phone.
Oh, okay.
So you just talk on your cell phone like we're talking on the phone.
Okay. I can use my regular data plan on my phone too.
Yeah. Whatever.
I was thinking about maybe covering the activity. We talked about doing that one. Or I'm also going to be bringing with me some more Ultimate Fantastic Four, as well as more Invincible. Okay.
Well,
more to come, folks. We'll try to sneak in another podcast here in the next week or so.
If we're going to talk about like Invincible and Ultimate Fantastic Four, we need to each read like 3 or 4 volumes of it.
Already have.
Oh, have you?
And I'm bringing a couple volumes with me too.
Well, so. Ultimate FF, how far along are you?
I'm like 7 or 8.
So you're like what, 5 in the hardcovers?
Right.
So I could probably read to that point.
I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll talk.
So maybe some
My
Invincibles.
people will talk to your people. You know.
You don't know. You know what? Let's pick Invincible.
Okay.
And read all the way up to the current issue.
Oh my goodness! I got to buy some more volumes.
Oh my goodness gracious!
That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of reading.
Man, that's a lot of reading on my vacation.
Yeah. Oh well. Sorry.
I guess I'll have to lay by the beach and spend some time reading comic books. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Sorry to ruin your vacation. Sucks for you. As we both take drinks, so dead air time. Okay. So let's read Invincible.
Okay.
Let's try to get caught up, or as close as we can. Maybe up to issue 75.
That's a lot.
it's only 69 issues.
Sure.
So you can do that.
Okay.
No problem. You're all about the 69.
Ugh.
What are you talking about?
You know me, I'm a trooper.
Issues. 69 issues.
I got more than 69 issues, but
Well, I heard you got 99 problems.
that's right.
But I guess that's something else entirely.
All right, folks. Well, it was great to do another podcast
Oh, I'm so tired.
out here.
Starting to get a
by
little
the
nipply
pool.
out, though.
It is.
It's a little
nice.
chilly. A little chilly out. But don't forget, everybody. First of all, we want to thank you for listening.
That's
but
right.
also, if you want to leave us a voicemail question, you can do so by calling area code 217-953-4025. You can also leave us emails. That's right. You can send an email to apocalypse@comiholics.com or dirt@comiholics.com. Those will come right to our personal email boxes. So if you want to bug Apocalypse while he's on his vacation,
Yeah.
just
I'll
email.
still get email.
Yeah, email like every 10 to 15 minutes.
That's right.
With just things that are
And
like...
I'll respond every 15 to 20 minutes.
What's the sky like there? Is it pretty? What are you looking at? What you thinking? Just send him things like that the entire time while he's on vacation. Also, don't forget, you can come to popculturenetwork.com. Check out all our great comic book coverage. Things like the Comics Corner with Ryan Porter, Scrolls of Eternia, which is a new series from... I'd say the guy's name, but I'm not sure how to pronounce it because he lives in like Finland or Norway or one of those. It's Yuka. It's and but hey, he covers the Masters of the Universe comics and stuff like that. Scrolls of Eternia, that's a great one. You guys should check out. And then, of course, Pop Culture Network does cover things like toys and video games and movies and TV shows and professional wrestling and all sorts of great stuff that you can find on our message boards. Click on the forums button and you can meet with other great, wonderful, exciting people and find out about other great, wonderful, exciting stuff. So don't forget, that's all part of the Pop Culture Network at popculturenetwork.com.
Pop Culture Network.
Pop Culture Network.
Pop Culture Network.
Pop Culture Network.
Pop
Culture Network. Ow, that hurts. I think I'm smacking it too hard. That's what she said.
Ooh.
All right. That's going to do it for tonight, guys. I'll talk to you later. Talk to you next time, sometime in the future.